And we're live. Welcome to the Rican Show, episode 33, where I'm here with Melinda Ann, and she is the communications director for LUCA, an up and coming organization. And s- um, welcome for the
Thanks.
second time you on the show. And I wanted to give you a chance. I know you, like you said, you guys haven't officially launched, but you're a growing organization, and anything that unites Latinos together to um, work on a common cause that's not leftism. I'm
Right.
more I'm more than happy to promote it.
That's awesome. Thanks for having me. Yes, this is my second time, and I'm so I love talking on the show. So I really want to say thank you for having me on again. It's really important that it makes me happy to see my fellow Americans, especially my fellow Latinos, you know, getting their own shows going and having the conversation that a lot of people don't want to have. And this is why I absolutely enjoy doing this because it's so vital, um, especially right now. So my name is Melinda Ann. I am the communications director for LUCA. LUCA stands for Latinos United for Conservative Action. We are a branch off of an organization that has been established for a while now. It's called Poder Latino. And we are, that's more of an evangelical is what we are. We really work on the political communication and endorsing great candidates, getting behind them, sharing, researching them, and making sure that we are all getting the right candidates out in front and center, as well as working with all of our community pastors and making sure that we are moving forward, praising God, right? Because this country was founded on Christianity, and um, I mean, God has been taken out of everything. I'm
Hmm.
old enough to remember God was in our schools, right? So that's what we're going to be focusing on and working really hard. We have so many hundreds of wonderful pastors that are we have access to, that we're a part of the organization, so that anytime we start putting on events and doing things, we want to make sure that our community pastors are involved.
Yeah, that's good because God's leaving some of these churches too. Because I mean, some of these churches, um, I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, some of their performances, you would think it's like something out of like a Met Gala or something like that.
It's really it's changed quite a bit for sure. So yeah, so we are an up and coming organization. We have started really getting our name out there. We haven't done an official launch yet. We are still building our team. We have a wonderful news director. We have a wonderful she actually works in the community, because that's what's important, right? We want to make sure that it's action. We're not just sitting behind a keyboard. We're not just talking on social media. So social media is very important. Yes, we utilize it, and it's really, I mean, me being the founder of New Mexico, that's how we grew and how we were able to really reach out to my fellow New Mexicans on the work that needed to be done there to get out of such a corrupt stronghold in New Mexico. So, we are consistently building. We will have an official launch soon. So, we are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, we are on TikTok, and we are on Twitter right now. So, we are growing, and just really trying to get the name out there and the word. And like I said, we will be having an official launch soon for all those that do follow.
So, what got you started? Because I know like you said, you started New Mexico. You've been part of the Podel. Now, what inspired you to launch Luca?
Well, I mean, what inspired us with Luca is I was already working with in New Mexico,
Hmm.
and I was also the New Mexico administrator for Trump, Latinos for Trump, as well as for Lexit. And so, being that I live in Texas, Por Del Latino, I was introduced to them by my brother Mario, and the CEO is Antonio, goes by Tony de Renteria. He is a board member of the Hispanic 100, which is a very prominent organization that helps Latinos. Mostly, are young, and I mean, in every aspect. They even travel to some of the Latin countries as well. So, he is our CEO, and it's just important that we have a solid organization, and we're based out of Texas, so we do start in Texas, and our goal is to become national. So
Mhm.
we plan on bringing on, some great Tony, is associated with some of our great congressmen, senators, House representatives. I mean, so many people. So we want to make sure that we are, getting the work done behind the scenes, whether it be writing letters to our Congress members, which we already started doing, and I can't wait to share more about that, on behalf of, our not only our Latino community, but our fellow Americans. So the Latino community, Hispanic community, the Spanish, Mexican community, whatever we are, right?
Mhm.
Chicanos, there's even Chicanos, there's a big umbrella under the Latin community, but
Mhm.
we're growing, and we are a force to be reckoned with, and we can really make a lot of change. So the most important thing is getting the action behind the work that we need to do. And so that's exactly what we plan on doing.
I was going to suggest that, I know you're based out of Texas, but don't forget there's a lot of Latinos in the Northeast, and
Oh, yeah.
sometimes it may seem it's an uphill road,
Hmm.
but if we want to make real change, we got to make inroads in,
Yeah.
like Puerto Ricans, Dominicans,
Yes. Yeah.
the communities that are up here that they think they're Democrats. And I say that with, being Puerto Rican myself, they think they're Democrats, but if they look at what they really believe in,
Right.
they don't really vote them. They really shouldn't be voting Democrat anymore.
Right. And I mean, and the thing is that we are going, our goal is to become national. We want to have representatives on behalf of LUCA in every state. We want to be able
Mhm.
to bring on so many members that are ready to do the work and the action behind the name. Like I said, conservative action. It's the action that's going to make changes, and it
Mhm.
needs to be done within our communities. Um, I did a show last week, and one of the biggest things that I like to share with the listeners and share with those that follow me is that I'm very humbled, and I was very honored to be on a couple of phone calls with President Trump when he was in the White House. And what he did was it was so inspiring, because he brought on, he would bring in many of us community leaders, right, throughout the United States. And what he would do is he would really mentor us and talk to us about the importance of being that community leader and making sure that we are helping our fellow Americans within our community understand why it's so important to be involved in everything that's happening within our government, because we the people are in charge. We the people have the power, and this government has grown too big, and so we need more Americans to wake up. And the thing is that state has their sovereignty. Every state has their sovereignty. The federal government doesn't have more power than each state. So the states have their sovereignty, they have more power. So that's why President Trump would make it very, would make the point like, look, you guys have to do this in your respected states. You have to be your, community leaders, inspire other people to become a community leader, because this is the only way that we're going to combat the corruption that we have really had a blind eye to for such a long time, for decades upon decades upon decades, where we can now look and see that they have grown so powerful, right? That in each state, like in New Mexico, this governor and the corrupt government there, they're just having sessions and just passing bills and laws, while the people aren't even involved. Like, they don't even talk about. They're just passing them. They're like, oh well, this passed the law, so it's now law. I mean, that's just how bad it is. And so this is why each state and the communities have to stand up. They have to hold every single person that is in that position accountable. And we want to show how that's done, because this is really the only way we're going to save this country.
No, I agree. I think we need to do the importance of this is the outreach, and I think like not to preach to the choir. I think that we need to push into the communities that they're going to give us pushback
Yep.
because they've been indoctrinated for years in
Right.
these, in these democratic strongholds, and in all the major cities like New York City, Boston, Philadelphia,
Chicago,
Chicago, Los Angeles,
Los
where
Angeles.
we got to make inroads with our fellow Latinos, that
Hmm.
to be like, hey, we're Americans too. We're not just, we're not just Latino. You're not
Right.
just Mexican. I'm not just Puerto Rican. We're American.
That's right.
And it's a beautiful blend. We do bring spice to this country,
Yeah.
pun intended. Um, but let me see. Someone said, I have a
Yeah. I was
comment
just
here.
reading it.
It says we need more Republican Latinos in the Northeast to speak up. A
Mhm.
lot of Latinos don't speak up due to fear because they have the the rep of being
Reputation.
Democrats.
Yeah.
My mom is a Trump supporter and scared to say it.
And you know what? And let me respond. That is the big, that is what the Democrats are thriving on, right? So they push fear. I mean, it's happened from the very beginning. If you wear a red MAGA hat, you're pretty much a terrorist in this country. And Biden made it very clear of these. What was the word that he used? MAGA.
Maggots.
Yeah, I mean, just really trying to make us out to be that we are domestic terrorists within our own
Yeah.
country, because we value our constitution, we value our
Mhm.
freedom, and we understand that how important it is that we have to protect it. So one of the biggest things that I share is that we have to stop being scared. This government has really done a great job at doing that. And so when the people stand up, I mean, can you imagine? We outnumber them 100 times. So if we just really start to show the strength and start to show, hey, you know what, we're sick and tired of this. We are done. There, no more games. You know, I I know that at that point we can start seeing a change, but it is going to take, for every single one of us to not show any type of fear to this government, because that's how they thrive and that's how they grow. So, and I understand, and I really
Mhm.
hope that she can um, be more, less afraid to just be proud, to be a proud American, because I know I say this a lot, but I know I'm old enough to remember how proud we used to be when I was younger, and how proud any of us were to be an American citizen, and we're losing that.
Yeah, no, we are. It's like, I have a little sister. She is 7.5 years younger than me,
Mhm.
and she always says, "I'm not proud of being an American. I'm not proud of this country." And I'm
They're
like,
teaching that.
that's what they're, yeah, that's exactly what they're teaching, you know. And
But I
it's
think what needs to happen is, again, for for your listeners and for all of us, we need to continue to have the conversation with every single friend, with every single family member, loved one, whomever, and say, use the contrast between Biden and Trump, because there is, I mean, it's undeniable, the contrast of our quality of life. We watch the wars around the world. What do these leaders in this country really, what do they care? It's our children, it's our loved ones that go off to war. They just sit there and they
Mhm.
actually benefit off war. And this is why, President Trump shared this with, so that your mom isn't afraid to say, what, at least under President Trump, there were no wars. There were zero wars. And he made it very clear that we weren't going to tolerate any more wars, because
Mhm.
the bloodshed is not the leaders. They're the ones that benefit. They're the ones, I mean, look at Ukraine. They received billions of
Mhm.
our dollars. Did they receive billions from any other country?
Mhm.
And
No,
why? you
billions
know
of dollars to Ukraine, billions of dollars of military equipment left behind in Afghanistan.
Afghanistan. Mhm.
I mean, you
And
just,
we're weak to Russia, we're weak to China, whereas under Trump we were strong. Nobody would mess with us. I mean, he sent the bomb over there in the Middle East and said, look, this is your warning shot. You don't mess
yeah,
with us. America's
no,
back. We are tough, and we're not going to tolerate this crap.
yeah,
And so
people.
this,
I remember for the longest, I had a tweet that said, when that it said Biden is weak and our enemies smell blood in the water.
they do.
And that's what Trump. They were like, Trump's a madman. Trump's crazy. Trump's going to lead us to World War III. But meanwhile, nothing during Trump, and just 2 years under Biden, you have the Ukraine military action, or whatever the hell you want to call it, and you have China threatening Taiwan.
Right. And what are they doing about it? Nothing. We're just going to get stuck in the middle. We're going to send out money,
Hmm.
just waiting for Trump to say, you know what? I mean, for Biden to say, here's money, Taiwan. And Americans
Hmm.
we cannot sustain anymore, you guys. We can no longer sustain.
No,
We're done.
it's they say in the event of a crash, put the mask on yourself first before you put the mask on anyone else, and
Yes.
that's what's going on. We need to take care of ourselves. We need to bring we need to bring this manufacturing back from overseas, especially the stuff that we're doing in China. We need to bring that back over here. Take care, get ourselves healthy, get our financials in order, and then we could start taking care of others. But
Right.
we're going broke trying to take care of everybody else.
Right. Right. And too many people really are blinded to that. Like I was having a disagreement with somebody on my Instagram. Like he literally cannot see past his hate for Trump's
Oh yeah.
personality. That he continues to question me. Well, I thought you weren't. He just is in denial. And whenever I give him, like we were talking about the poorest cities, right? The states, about how they are literally being ran by Democrats. And he argued, and we were doing voice messages back and forth and just
Hmm.
argued with me. And I finally gave him the top 10 poorest cities because he started talking about states. I said, I want to talk about the cities because what you don't understand is that a mayor, okay, like when we're talking about Chicago, a
Hmm.
mayor actually has more power over the governor, right? So when we understand that, when you look at our inner cities, because he was talking about, well, look at Louisiana as a red state, and it's got this poverty, it's got this crime. I said, but look at the cities. I'm talking about
Hmm.
the poorest cities, the highest crime rate cities. They are ran by Democrats.
Yeah.
Just because it's a Republican governor, right? But their hands are tied. Um, you know, the people who vote for their mayors,
Yeah.
they have such power within their cities. You look
Yeah.
at your county commissioners, you look at your clerks, you look at the DAs, you look at every single person that is involved in the policies that are put in place. Are they following them? Are they not following them? I mean, there is so much that needs to be understood. I mean, and he just never came back and said anything because you can't argue that. Ohio, all top 10 cities that are the poorest, anybody can go
Hmm.
and research it. All top 10 cities that are the poorest are all ran by a Democrat.
Yeah. As I just saw, what was it? Mayor Adams of New York,
Yeah.
right? The stupidest comment I've seen, because he this whole thing with they're sending immigrants to New York City.
Hmm.
Now his thing is they're sending it to black mayor cities, because
Hmm.
they were sending immigrants to Chicago and DC, and it's like Philadelphia has a white mayor. He was sending, they sent immigrants to Martha's Vineyard, whitest place on earth,
Right.
and I'm just there like, this guy's such an idiot.
I know.
It's like, or I shouldn't say he's an idiot. It's talking points to take away, because they can't win by argument. So now he has to win by, oh well, we're just gonna say racism.
Well, and the Democrats thrive. They thrive on the people being uneducated about the process. They thrive and they count on those. And this is what I told this man. They count on your ignorance. They count
Yeah.
on your denial. They count and they need you to stay in that state of mind instead of understanding that they are trampling and stomping all over our Constitution, and we're losing our country. It's crumbling from within, just like the president from El Salvador. He adores President Trump, and he says
Hmm.
you cannot sit back. Looking out of America, you cannot sit back and watch such a powerful country crumble from within and not realize that that's where it's come. It's their own people doing it to themselves. And I think too many Americans are so just blind to that fact because their hate and for President Trump without realizing that it is the actual policies that matter, not the
Yeah, that's what
personality.
I tell my son's nurse. I tell her all the time. I'm like, I get it. You hate Trump. He's an asshole. And I'm
Yeah.
like, but sometimes, do you want your doctor to be nice, or do you want
Mhm.
your doctor to be an asshole and be like, here, take this
Be
medicine, or
honest.
you're gonna die?
Be
You know,
honest. Yeah.
I'd rather have the doctor that's an asshole and tells me what I need to hear
Yeah.
than what I want to hear.
And I saw that you put a message up, said I'm a progressive
Yeah, someone
conservative.
put they put Macy. She put, I'm a progressive conservative lesbian, but family and friends are right and left and don't get into politics. But then she put, but AOC has lost her mind.
Has lost her mind. Absolutely.
And
And
then
yeah.
I said, creative minds put here. My mom does express her opinions about AOC. She dislikes her. She's been called a fake Puerto Rican because she doesn't like AOC. Trump
Absolutely.
opened up her eyes. She's
Um,
75 years old and was a hardcore Democrat.
yeah, absolutely. And again, that's all, it's all stemmed from, we understand and we can, we have the common sense to say, you know what, life was a little bit better under President Trump. We could really, because I know myself, and I'm sure, Creative Minds, your mom, and Macy, your family, like exactly, Trump is a New Yorker. He's, yes. And so I lived in the Northeast coast with my ex-husband for
Mhm,
5 years. And I mean, I met people that
mhm.
walk and talk like President Trump. They come a
Yeah.
dime a dozen, you guys.
So
That's just
so you know,
how it
so you
is.
lived you were married to a Puerto Rican, so you know what bruto is. I don't know
Yes.
how
Yes.
to. I don't know. I don't.
Like brutal. He was just very brutally
Yeah.
honest. And he was
That's.
he was a tough guy. I mean, mind you,
Mhm,
he's a New Yorkan first and foremost. He's a businessman. He's an
mhm.
international businessman. So, you have no choice. I mean, can you imagine the type of people that would try to take you for granted and take you for a ride? And I mean, he has a tough, but he also has a soft side. Okay. He also does care about people. And there have been many instances, and he loves his country. He is an American. And you know what the biggest problem is that the contrast that people didn't see is because a lot of people didn't watch his CPAC in 2015 before he became president. He spoke there and he says, "You guys, look, here's the reality. I'm an elite. I am one of them. I've given every single one of these politicians money. I've been to their dinners. I have hung out with them. I've had conversations with them. I have seen every in and out of it, and it is not good. What they have and what they do to the American people is not good. We're going to lose our country. But the problem is that there's a lot of people that know, but nobody is strong enough to stand up against them. People are scared.
Well,
And
that's why
he
they
said,
hated him so. That's why the media hated him so much.
yes,
Like I try to explain that to people. It's like you hate him because the media
told you to hate
programmed
him.
you to hate him
Yeah,
because pre running for president, everybody loved him.
yeah,
Everybody wanted to be Donald Trump, and
yeah.
then when he beats Hillary Clinton, the chosen one, oh, forget it.
They
They
weren't they
they
weren't
lost their
expecting
mind.
that, but it was
No,
overwhelming. It was overwhelming because we're sick and tired of politicians. I remember growing up hearing all my tias and my tios and my parents like, "Oh, here comes another politician just to promise us everything under the sun." Yet we just sit back and we, watch them get rich and rich and rich, and we're, what do they do for us really? But they still voted Democrat every single time because it was always like, if you're Latino, you vote for the Democrats because they're for the poor and the Republicans are for the rich. And so, being born a Hispanic, my birth
hmm
certificate was just stamped Democrat the moment I was born,
yeah,
so we didn't know any better. But it really, when Trump ran and he's like, don't you, he spoke exactly what I've been feeling for a long time, what I've heard my family say, and I argued with them many times, is, you used to talk crap about these career politicians. What have they done? What have
yeah.
they done for us? Literally. If they're for the poor, here's how I started my organization in New Mexico.
Mhm.
Okay, this was my message to them. New Mexico has been held by the Democrats legislatively, because we go back and forth between Republican and Democrat governor. Okay, I'm talking legislation
Yes.
side where they write
Mhm.
the bills and the laws. New Mexico has been held by the Democrats for 100 years, a hundred
Wow.
years. Yet we are last in everything good, last, and we continue to be last. Education, for our child well-being, for health care, for opportunity, we are last. Why do we continue to vote just to be last?
Well,
Why? I
because
just
the
don't
Democrats do
understand it.
because the Democrats do a good job
Mhm.
of two things: instilling fear
Yeah,
and putting the blame on the other side.
yeah,
That's what they like to do. They project that stuff because they'll be like, "Oh, the Republicans, they're racist because of this, this, and this, and we're not because we do this, this, and this." And it's like, okay, if you're doing all of this stuff like in New Mexico and it's keeping the people poor,
yeah.
then how is your policies good and not racist? Let's say not racist compared to Republicans going, well, we want to do things this way, and it's working in other states. It works like in Texas, it works in Florida. You see California going to shit,
Yeah.
and New Mexico wants to follow California, not their
Oh no,
neighbor
they are. I
Texas.
mean, that governor's literally, they gave her the playbook and she's following verbatim. New Mexico has 21 Native American tribes. Okay, most of us are mestizos. Like my great great grandmother is 100% Mescalero Apache.
Mhm,
We're, also my sixth great grandfather migrated from Madrid, Spain.
mhm,
And so we're Spanish, and my grandmother was born in Monterrey, Mexico. She was brought to America at 3 months old because my great grandfather worked for the railroad. So we're, so Mexican, Native American, Spanish. So, our 21 tribes of Native Americans live in socialism. They live in pure poverty.
mhm.
Okay. So, that's the problem. And so until more Americans now let's add, and this is the truth, and nobody wants to, a lot of people don't understand, but we have to understand when President Trump said, we are now in a place where we don't have elections anymore. We have selections. That is communism 101. Okay.
Yeah.
And there is voter fraud. I saw it for myself. My sister, she's my amiga, but she's like a sister to me, ran for Secretary of State. And we're in and out of that whole thing. And she lost. But let me tell you what we saw in voter fraud. Okay. It exists. And so they know they're losing this
Well,
country.
it always this is the whole thing, Melinda. It's always existed. It's
Mhm.
always existed.
Oh, it's
When
just
my
prominent.
my thing that annoys me the most about 2020 with the election and is the fact that they say, yeah, it's the cleanest election ever, and I go, look, listen, you don't have to believe there was manipulation. Just with
Right.
this one fact, here's one fact that you could tell people, and this is what I always tell people when they say it was the cleanest election ever. I go, mail-in ballots pre 2020, okay, had a rejection rate of 3 to 5%.
Yep.
2020 election, less than 1% was rejected. That's not clean.
No, it's not clean. Well,
That's
and
not
here's the
clean.
other thing. What I fought in Texas is I was in Tarrant County. And in 2016, people have to really look at what happened after Trump won. They panicked. They panicked because they knew that Trump was going to expose him. And Trump said at his inauguration, we're not just transferring power from one administration to another, or from one party to another. We are transferring power from the government back to the rightful owners, the people, right? So
Hmm.
they knew, because he warned, I mean, look at what he does. He had to be mean and nasty to them. And he warned them that it was time to give the power back to the people. And so, 2016 in Texas, this is how they do it. And they do it across the country. They want Texas to collapse. As you can see, and I know we're going to get to this in a few with the
Yeah.
wide open borders. It's only in Texas the most. that they're coming, they're flooding through. They're not flooding through California. They're
Well,
not flooding
that's
through
how.
Arizona.
They're going to California, but the difference is, you know, there, there's a project with the immigrants going into Texas, because that's their whole plan of trying to turn Texas
Blue.
purple, well, purple and
Right.
then blue.
Well,
That's
and so
their
what they
whole.
did in Tarrant County is the elections administrator, when I was working with the America Project, the elections administrator in Tarrant County, right? Because Tarrant County was the last standing red, strong red county. You look at Austin, blue; Dallas, blue; Houston, blue, right? They're all blue. Tarrant County was red. So 2016, this elections administrator came in. Well, who was this election administrator? His name was Hyder Garcia. Who's Hyder Garcia? He is from Venezuela. Okay.
Mhm.
He's from Venezuela. He was thrown out of the Philippines in 2010 while he was working for Smartmatic for voter fraud. Okay. Thrown out of the Philippines. He's lucky he didn't get incarcerated. How did
Mhm.
this man get put in Tarrant County? Okay. To be over the election process, changed all of the machines, because in 2016, when Trump won, that's when the Democrats really got to work. They needed to start getting everything done, and they're little busy bees when it comes to that.
2016. That was when Wendy Davis also ran against Abbott, right?
I don't remember, but
That, because I
so
remember
Tarrant
Wendy Davis
County
was the.
overnight
Mhm.
under this guy turned blue. You don't ever see that. How did that happen? Usually you'll watch it gradually go purple, right? It needs to, but overnight, once Hyder Garcia, this guy from Venezuela who was thrown out of a whole
No.
country for voter fraud, who worked for Smartmatic, is now the elections administrator in the last standing red county, and it turns
Mhm.
blue. No, that's not
Well,
suspicious at all.
oh, it's suspicious, but I can also tell you the non-suspicious thing, because I lived in Collin County for a couple of years, which is
Mhm.
right next to Tarrant County,
Yes.
and I could tell you one of the problems that was going on is when Toyota came to Plano, um, they brought a lot of people from California
Mhm.
over to work there at Toyota, and a
Mhm.
lot of these people from California, they came here to Texas. And instead of going, hey, we left California for a reason, they came here to Texas. Well, not
Oops.
nice kids here in Texas. I don't live there no more. But they came to Texas, and I'd hear them complaining about, oh, well, they don't do this in Texas. They don't do that. Then go back to California. If you don't like it so much here in Texas, then leave.
You
Why
have
you?
this ability because Texas is red and it has the policies that it has.
Yeah.
But thankfully, with that story I was just telling you, he just resigned a few
Oh,
weeks
good,
ago.
good.
He just resigned, so I was really happy to hear that. But Texas is being invaded in many facets, in many ways.
Yeah.
The transgender that's happening in certain areas in some of our cities. I did, whenever you're ready, we will talk about the border, because we are being in
Oh, if you
completely
want to go,
invaded.
into it, you could walk in. You're right there. Let's walk into it.
Sure. So, we're watching the stories, and again, the media is just as crooked as these elites, and they keep talking. Sadly, we had the shooting spree at the mall in Allen, Texas.
Yeah,
We had
that's.
the killings in Brownsville, Texas, and as well as in Cleveland, Texas.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, the media feels that they, are talking white supremacy. These were
Yeah,
all Mexicans. These were all Latinos that did this. Okay.
I brought up
And yes, all Mexicans. And so we have to look at what's happening at our border. Have we seen the migrants that come in? We have actual people that like us, that are at the border and are getting the information. And I know a couple of them that have been working so hard over there. And people don't understand what comes through an open border, the child trafficking. I have a friend that goes, and she says, Melinda, it's really hard for me to go because when I come back, I'm broken. when you see the children that are being sexually molested on the way in with their traffickers, everybody
Yeah,
wants to get mad that Trump separated the kids from the parents, because do you know the astonishing amount and percentage of children that were coming in with traffickers?
yeah.
I mean, look
There
at the
was
big story with the 15-year-old taken from the Mavericks, and she was being sold in Oklahoma. The child trafficking that's coming through, the 8-year-old that had 67 samples of
that's the
different
one I was going to
DNA.
talk about. Yeah, I heard
Yes,
about
and
that.
she was coming, being smuggled through the border. And people don't want to talk about that. And she my friend says, Melinda, I come home broken, and I'm on my knees praying for a week, because it is evil. It is horrible. It is so hard what our border patrol, what our law enforcement is enduring, what they are seeing, what these children, the organizations, Trump gave millions to organizations that actually have to rehabilitate these children that go through these
Oh,
horrific, right? Sexual, it's torture if you think about it. An 8-year-old that was sexually assaulted by 67 different men. So, yeah, right here, Texas mall shooter rented against Jews, women. Why is it always that though? Huh? Why? And so they are, but they don't mention there. Well, they put his name, Marcio Garcia. But when we were talking about
yeah. I want to.
cops, what do they say? White cop, white
Hmm.
policeman, white.
Well,
How come they don't do it? Whenever it's a Latino, it's a Mexican.
well, this is
You
the
know,
funny thing. I wanted to show the contrast in this article. When you see the contrast in this article, compare it to, because here they talk about all the the stupid stuff about rants against Jews, women, and
yeah,
racial minorities. Meanwhile, he's
yeah,
a racial minority.
yeah,
Um, they talk about all of that stuff, and they make that as the reason for everything that he was doing.
right.
But meanwhile, here's same NBC News, because I clicked this link from their article, where because they said that this white supremacist, okay, praised a trans shooter in Nashville.
Right. So do you see how they link all that together?
And then,
It's got to be racial. It's got to be
well, not
against.
only that, they even talked about that he posted on a Russian website. And I'm just there. So now it's all the key points. If people just would wake up and look at what they want you to, what they feed you, it's like, let me go back to the other article before I go there. They talks about here, um, where is it? Sorry, I just want to go. It goes
No, you're fine.
there. He posted. Where is that Russian?
Series of links to other sites.
Yeah, but there was one here where he talked. They talked about him. I thought it was in the beginning. Let me go back. There it goes. Mauricio Garcia maintained a profile on the Russian social networking platform OK.ru, including posts referencing extremist online forums such as 4chan and content with white nationalists, including Nick Fuentes and
Right.
anti-Semitic white nationalists. And I'm just here
Right.
like, I'm like, so look at the talking points they're feeding you here, and then
They
you
have
go
to
to
put
your,
it in there some way, somehow,
of
right?
course, and it's like, look, this is what they feed you to divide us. You come here, and here's that guy's mentally ill, and so is this
Well, and they
person.
didn't mention that the parents asked for translators from the police officers. So they're obviously not nationalized Americans.
Yeah,
And how many are will we ever know? Did they come in? Our border's been wide open for 3 years. It's been open longer than that, but it's been wide open for 3 years, which that should be treason on the Biden administration all in itself, right? So we need our Senate. We need, even the Democrats, that just goes to show them in Congress, they're not abiding by what our Constitution, we are being invaded at the moment, invaded. And if you go and look at the recent photos that the people like us, that we've all had to become our own media, our own reporters, and they're sharing photos of just thousands upon thousands of migrants, and they're mostly men, young men, And when my friend who goes to the border, she says, you know what, Melinda, here's what we're getting now. Here's the problem. It isn't women and children anymore. Okay. It's less and less women and children. It is more young fighting age men. And now,
Mm-hmm.
the cartels own our borders. Okay. The cartels own, and you don't think they're not going to come in and start doing more mass shooting? What do they care? What
I
do
want to
they
show.
care?
I just want to show people so they can see the difference between when they want to talk about this Mexican guy,
Mhm.
okay, who is obviously, if he's going to these white nationalist sites and if he's really doing that stuff, this kid is not right in the head,
Right.
okay. And here in this article, they're more sympathetic toward the damn shooter, where they go, Audrey Hale appeared to be rambling and indicative of a mental health struggle. Where same thing with this kid who shot up in Allen. It's like if he's there going to forums about white supremacy, here's a girl, right? I think she was a girl, right? That yeah, it was a girl who identified as a male.
Right.
You're looking at two mentally ill people, two people who were longing to belong. That's the whole thing. They were longing to belong. So here's one person who chose the extreme left to try to belong to that trans community, and here's
Right.
another one who chose the extreme right. When it's two sides of the same coin, it's
I
two
know.
people who were struggling mentally, and they
And it's
just
always mentally ill people.
it
So it's
is.
always a person, and they've got mental. So why do they want to ban guns if it's the actual person? You know, um, I don't know. The media has to be shut off. The media has not been able, we haven't been able to trust the media for such a long time.
Well,
And
it's like
so the problem is people like us, like on my Facebook, when I used to do my own shows, I was constantly being banned. Constantly. I was doing just lives by myself, and they would shut me down in the middle of my live
you see,
and
that's
then
why
ban me
that's
for
why
a
I don't
hundred
post on.
days.
That's why I don't post on Facebook. That's why I just keep it to YouTube and Rumble. Because you know what? At the end of the day, even if YouTube um, blocks the show or whatever, it gives me a strike and I have to fight it. At least I can still tell people the show's on Rumble.
Right.
And you know, oh no, that doesn't look good. Oh no, that's better. Um, I was gonna say I want to compare that to like what's going on in like what happened in New York. And I don't know if you heard about the homeless guy that was on the train and the Marine put him in a chokehold, and now people are protesting, wanting the guy arrested for murder. And it's like, all right, so let's get this straight. You can't have a gun in New York to protect yourself. So some crazy guy, and this guy has a rap sheet. I think he's been arrested over 40 times. Try
Yeah.
to kidnap a 7-year old. Try to push people
But
off a
he's the good
train,
guy.
but he's the victim. Like, get out of here! What, he needed to actually attack someone before? I mean, he's attacked people before, but he needed to attack someone in that instance for this guy to be justified in protecting the other people on the train.
Do you see what I'm saying, amigo? This is what I mean when I talk about what I share with the people. It's about getting involved in, I mean, it's the communities. The state has more power than the federal government. It has more sovereignty. So
Yes.
the people need to make these changes within the states. But we are watching stronghold states like New York, like California, like Illinois, like New Mexico, where these Democrats have their corruption so deeply rooted that there is nothing that the people can actually do, and they're becoming frustrated.
Well, I
So
think
they asked me, so what's going to happen, Melinda? What do you think? Are we just going to become in a country, is it going to be where all of the conservatives are running to the red states and all of the Democrats are running to the blue states? But this is why they're trying to take down Texas so badly. If you
mhm.
look at everything that's happening, it's happening in the state of Texas, because this state is the beacon of actual freedom. If Texas goes, America goes.
Yeah, no, especially national elections.
Yeah.
Texas is deep red, and if that ever changed, you know that would be it for Republicans to win the presidency.
And this is why DeSantis needs to stay in Florida. You know, he
Well,
needs
ideally what I say is I'd like for him to run if I know he's going to run for president, but ideally I wish both of them would let their egos aside,
yeah.
and which is not going to happen. But I would love for a Trump DeSantis ticket, because I think that's at the end of the day that's the Democrats' worst nightmare. If that's the
Yes.
ticket, that's could you imagine DeSantis debating Kamala? Could you imagine that?
Yeah, that would be wonderful to watch. I
Yeah,
get
that's
it. It's
I
I
would.
just feel like it's a big old wrench thrown within the Republican Party. It really is. Because, you know, I'm just very, and this is just my opinion,
Uh,
you know, since Trump has shown us, he has literally shown us through policies and the way he was as president, he has put the spotlight and pulled the curtain up on every single person that the American people need to have their eye on, right? On both sides, Republicans included, Democrats for sure. And so whenever he does that, that makes my eyebrow go up at that person, because Trump doesn't start anything unless he has a legitimate reason, right? That something is happening and there is a reason. I don't think Trump is worried about DeSantis at all. Like, DeSantis beating him, because if you can see, DeSantis is way below. My concern is those Republicans that don't have the best interests and for the people as well. Again, it is on both sides.
oh yeah,
Okay.
it
So
definitely.
when Trump does that, it makes me raise my eyebrows at them, because you know why? You know how the American people feel about Trump. You know what he has shown us. We clearly, in those 4 years, he multitasked. He was able to undo so much corruption that it literally freed us.
Well,
And
if you want to look at DeSantis, basically followed the Trump
he
handbook
did.
in Florida.
Yeah,
That's what he did. Let's be realistic. He went there. He attacked the media. He's fought the culture wars, and that's why he won Florida. That's why he
right,
turned Florida around. That
right,
Florida went from a purple state, leaning blue, to now it's a red state. It's not even a purple state no more.
right, right.
And it was
But
also because Trump changed like the face of Miami, where
mhm,
Miami, is it's Cubans, but Cubans that used to vote. Some of those Cubans used to vote Democrat, and now, Miami-Dade County went red for the first time in, uh, I forgot. I think it was something like 50 years.
yeah. So why not stay? Because you know what, the Democrats would love to get their grimy
Oh
hands
man,
back on Florida.
it,
So why?
this grinds my gears. My creative mind said, friends I know in Houston who left New York because of how New York is are wanting to see Texas flip. They hate that it's a red state. Then get the out.
Why are they here?
Yeah,
Why are they here?
get out.
Get out.
Leave.
Yeah,
You hate it that much? Go back to New York.
yeah.
But why did you leave New York? Because
Because New York is so expensive. Why is it so expensive? Because the Democrats and those that are running it have literally ran it to the ground.
yes.
You know, I've never seen so many potholes in my life until I moved out there. Like, they don't take care of their state, yet the people are
Well,
taxed to death.
well, in fairness, the potholes is also that like Texas doesn't get the cold that the Northeast does.
No, but with the way that they tax the people, you'd think they would have
Oh,
invented.
oh,
And
it's ridiculous. I mean, my property taxes were high. Like I said, I lived in Collin County, which is um basically, I think the only county that's richer than Collin County is Katy, right?
yes,
Where Katy, Texas is.
Katy, Texas is way south.
No, I know, no, but I'm saying those are like the two richest counties
Mhm.
in Texas is Collin and which county is Katy, Texas in? Is that Katy County or is it?
You know what? I
All right.
don't know. We have like 200 and something counties.
Oh, I know, but I know it's that one county in Houston and then the one county in
Travis
DFW
Travis
there.
County is Houston.
Travis County is Houston, yes, but I think it's the one above it, and I forget what's the name of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but my taxes were like about like 5-6 grand, which is still cheaper than Long Island.
It is.
Um,
But we the people have literally have to stop and stop allowing this. I start calling them civil servants. Start calling them what they are. They are civil servants. They literally have put themselves on a pedestal of power that they force people to believe that we can't knock them off of.
yeah.
And they have allowed socialist, outsiders like the Chinese, right? Chinese they own so much. They own Joe Biden.
Oh
And,
yeah.
they're teaching him socialism, communism 101. And that I mean, Biden, they used him. That man is so incoherent to what is even happening around him from minute to
Oh
minute.
yeah. I want to see how he's gonna do a debate
He
because I
won't.
mean he's gotten worse. He's gotten worse and worse uh, these past 2 years. It's like, how the hell is he going to debate in 2 more years from now? I don't see it.
I don't see him running. I say that I see that they're saying that
He,
he will, but let's be realistic. They're not going to choose Joe
he's,
Biden again.
but this is the whole thing. The only reason he's running is because they got nobody else left to run. Who they're going to run uh, in his place?
You know
Kamala.
what I will
People
know?
don't like people don't like Kamala. People like Kamala less than they like him.
You know who we have to worry about that they're being very hush hush about? Who are they grooming next? Because they're all old. These are 80-year-old people. Pelosi,
Well, I
Schumer,
know they're grooming. They want Buttigieg.
Buttigieg, Gavin Newsom.
Oh,
Those are
Gavin
the ones that
Newsom.
we
Oh,
have to pay attention to because they are grooming them to be the next, corrupt in charge. And so we need to do whatever it takes to put and like I said, it's term limits. Term limits need to come in ASAP. That should have
oh
been
yeah.
implemented decades ago.
Yeah, I think we need term limits in both. I say, what is it? Four terms in the House, 2 terms in the Senate, and obviously we have the 2 terms for president, and
Right.
leave it at that. Because I'm like, there's no reason why we should have, the Bidens, the McConnells, the Pelosi's, in Congress for 50 years.
And there's
That's
no and then
there's
they
no
they
reason.
they walk away multi millionaires.
Yeah, because
And
they
what
vote.
and
Yeah,
their districts and the people all around them are crumbling, are living in poverty. Look at Nancy Pelosi. Most of the people are pooping in her streets around her, shooting up drugs, living in homeless shelters. Like, what
hmm
has she done? Really? Nobody can answer
nobody.
that. That's
No.
like I ask people all the time, what has she done? What have these, politicians, these civil servants, what have they done that actually excelled your life? That
Yeah,
actually
no.
excelled America, that actually excelled your neighbors, that actually excelled other countries. People, don't understand. I shared this story that, my dad, he's my stepdad, but he's my dad. He's been my dad
Mm.
since he was, he's from the Middle East. And he was talking about, we were in Dallas and we were looking and we went to visit where JFK was murdered, right? We went to the site.
Oh yeah, I've been there
And
plenty of times.
he said that when that incident happened, he was a little boy and they were in Africa. He said everybody cried. He remembers being a little boy, okay, and crying when JFK got killed. Why was the world crying? Why were, people who live in poverty or have issues in other countries, why did they cry for that man when he was executed? Because he was like a Reagan, he was like a Trump, where they know if America is stable and America is not pursuing wars and America isn't doing it, they live at peace. They live at peace. But he
hmm
was such a beacon of love and hope and purpose that people in other countries, they cried. He shared that with me. And that really that really opened my eyes to a lot of things. It really did.
Well, that's a yeah. I mean, we're finally hearing that there was CIA involvement. They finally, because the people who were all involved are probably, close to death or are dead already. So
Right. Yeah. So we'll never know, and I know President Trump wanted to release that. What happened? Why did they not allow him to?
well, because the deep state won't allow it. Those people in perpetual government, those people who are, in the non-elected seats of government,
Right. The
those are the
leaks.
ones that don't want that stuff released.
Yeah.
Um, but well, you know what? It's almost an hour, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna start getting ready to wrap up. Um, so where can people follow you? I just, want to let them know where they could vote. I'm gonna put on the description because I know you're running for what was it? What is it? Let people know what you're running for because it's amazing
Thank
uh,
you.
what you're doing at your age.
Thanks. I am right now I'm in a competition to be on the cover of Hers magazine for Miss Health and Fitness 2023 at 50 years old. I would be the first winner in that contest to be in my 50s. Actually, I'll be 51 next month, so I can't say 50 anymore. I'm now going to be past 50. But I am competing to be on the cover of the magazine as Miss Health and Fitness. And votes are free. You can go to the link. The votes are free. I've been sharing tips, dieting tips, training tips. But if you buy votes, what they actually go to, they go to the Wounded Warrior program, and it helps build homes for our veterans. So, that's why I do it. I'm working hard. I'm not doing it I have competed in the past. I have done fitness competitions in the past, but this time I'm doing it at home with the Power Wave bag. The Power Wave bag was it's in London, and he's a great, he's like a brother to me. I've known him about 11 years, and I've been talking to him since the inception of the Power Wave bag, and it is amazing. And it's 30 minutes. I do it at home because, I don't have much time to go to sit an hour and a half at the gym. It's a 30 minutes. It's the warm up, it's the intense training, and it's the cool down. So, and it's a bag. It has a sand, and it's just aerodynamic, but you can literally transform your whole body within that 20-minute workout. So yeah, so that you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I'm under Melinda Ann. Again, our LUCA pages are on all of the platforms as well. So, but if you follow me, you will see all the tips, and you'll have the link where, yep, that's my Instagram right there. The link is in my bio to vote for me for Miss Health and Fitness 2023 at 50
Yeah.
years old. Yeah, there it is right there. I'm currently fifth in my group. The first phase of voting ends this Thursday, the 11th. And I have to be top 20. So being that I am currently fifth right now, that is awesome. I just want to keep going, but the next phase starts on Friday. So I'm pretty excited.
So yeah, so if you're watching, it's I think the free roll like I've been doing, it's like once a day. You could do it with your uh I've been doing it with my Facebook. So all you have to just sign on, you get to vote once a day.
Yeah.
And like she said, you could pay to vote and it goes to a good cause.
It does. And for our veterans deserve it. We have so many of them that are homeless, live on the streets. They're totally ignored. So I want to work hard for them. So if you buy the votes, like you could buy 10 votes for $10, and all of those proceeds go to the Wounded Warrior program for our wonderful and amazing veterans. So if you're a veteran out there, if you're currently serving, thank you for your service. Thank you for all that you sacrifice and do for our country. And this is the absolute least that I can do, to pay back. It's tough, when you get older, it's not as easy to train anymore, but I want to
Mhm.
share and help as many people as I can get fit and healthy.
Well, thank you, Melinda, for coming on again.
Thank you.
Um, when I hope when you officially launch,
Luca.
I'd like to have you back so we could do more. You know, you know how this goes when we go live. We talk whatever, whatever ends up coming into our minds, because
Yeah.
it's
There's so much to
unscripted.
talk about.
I know we said we're going to talk about this, and this, and we barely touched on what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of shows like this, is we get to, we get to express our thoughts and our opinions without having to worry about that 10-second, 30-second soundbite, where
Right.
people could listen to us actually, think a thought and actually, elaborate on it, as
Right.
opposed to, TikTok or those reels. It's
I know. I mean, they get out there, but yeah. And I thank
Mhm.
you also for having me, and thank you for, doing your part and getting the words out and the communication started and things as such, because it's so necessary.
No, it is. Thank you. I mean, I try. I
Yeah.
try. It's not easy when when the algorithms and everything are against what I'm trying to do. That's it's going. I'm going up current, but it's fun when I get guests like you on. So
Thank you. I appreciate you. God
yeah.
bless you.
Well, good luck, and I will have all her information on the description. So please vote for her. And if you haven't, the right Rican, please like and subscribe to the channel. Whether you're watching on YouTube, Rumble, you can follow me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, um, Gab, Truth, all of them. But mainly, really, if you want to get a quicker response from me, it's more Instagram and Twitter is where I'm mainly on, just because get more. I find I get more information from those two platforms nowadays. So, anyways, that being said, have a good week, everyone, and please vote for Melinda.
Thanks. I appreciate you. God bless you guys.